Hello and welcome back. It's Tall Toast here. Today I'm going to recap the movie Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. Settle in and subtitles on. The movie begins with an older lady, Nancy, settling into her hotel room. She nervously inspects her appearance in the mirror, but is soon interrupted by a knock on the door. Glancing through to the other side, she can see that Leo, her date for the evening, has finally arrived. After taking a moment to compose herself, Nancy lets him in and he gives her a kiss on the cheek. Leo suggests they start with a glass of champagne to set the mood. He then goes to the minibar to prepare the drinks and makes a toast, complimenting Nancy by saying there are no age limits for how sexy a person can be. As they sit down, Leo tries to calm her exuding nervous energy by making small talk and asking Nancy what kind of music she likes. However, she is still extremely tense and admits that she is distracted by his good looks. While they have communicated online for some time, she says that he looks even better in person. They then discuss the contractual arrangement for Leo's services, and Nancy mentions that she has sent the payment. She tries to be subtle while mentioning this, but Leo openly declares that there is no shame in a person simply getting paid to do their job. It is at this point we learn that Nancy has hired Leo to be her romantic partner for the night. The conversation continues to get deeper, but suddenly Nancy becomes upset and asks Leo if he thinks she is too old. This vulnerability and self-doubt creates a tender moment between the two. Leo brings her in close, and he reassures her with a delicate kiss. Still filled with uncertainty, Nancy continues to express her doubts about the situation, calling it crazy, terrible, and morally wrong. But Leo reminds her that they're both adults who have chosen to be there and starts to explore her body, asking if she is okay with him doing that. He slowly begins to undress her and leads her to the bed. He explains that every person has a quality or feature about them that makes them attractive, and for him, he especially likes the shape of her lips and her neckline. She then takes a moment to compose herself in the bathroom, questioning whether she has the resolve to go through with her plan. Shortly after, they move into bed. They continue to talk at first, sharing stories about their families. Leo reveals that no one in his life knows what he really does for a living, and it can be quite thrilling at times, the risk of people finding out. In fact, he lies to his mother by telling her that he works on an oil rig in Canada. Nancy finds this highly amusing, remarking that his cover story is quite funny and implausible. Leo says that he can be very persuasive, and he always makes sure to do his research. Nancy then admits that her previous experiences with her ex-husband were always a disappointment. In fact, Leo will be only the second man she has ever slept with in her entire life. Overcome with emotion, she tells Leo that her ex-husband used to shame her for her desires in the bedroom. Leo listens carefully and thanks her for telling him, indicating that he will always be respectful of her wishes. They can explore the things she likes in a safe space. They continue to talk for a while before finally giving in to the moment. The night ends with them passionately making love. A couple of weeks later, we see Nancy back in the same room waiting for her second meeting with Leo. Upon arriving, Leo expresses his gratitude for being booked again, and Nancy explains that she booked the exact same room because she has so many fond memories there. Leo assumes she is happy with his companionship from the last time, and Nancy confirms that she was indeed satisfied, but has some feedback and attainment goals for this session. The conversation then turns to a long list that Nancy has prepared, which outlines various things she would like to do. Leo is surprised by the sheer number of items on the list, but is willing to go along with it. Nancy explains that she wants to achieve a sense of achievement and not walk away from the session feeling unresolved. Leo reassures Nancy that they will try to complete as much of the list as possible within the allotted time. Their session is only for 2 hours this time, so they should make the most of it. Nancy is still slightly shy at first, but Leo encourages her to release the thing inside that judges her and holds her back. As they are about to begin, they are interrupted when Nancy's daughter calls. Once the call finishes, Nancy mentions that her daughter used to speak to her father about her problems, but he is no longer around. In fact, Nancy reveals to Leo that she didn't tell him all of the truth in their last meeting. Her husband actually recently died, and even though they didn't always get along, she feels a tremendous sense of loneliness and emptiness inside of her, and it feels like she is trapped by the past. Sensing the mood has been somewhat dampened by this, Leo suggests that they dance to some music. This helps to rekindle the romance between them, and they begin to have more fun again. Leo then begins to massage Nancy to work away her stress and anxiety. She tells him that he seems like a genuine person and that he should start thinking about his future because it will be here before he knows it. Leo responds that for the moment he is content and doesn't need to change anything in his life. Nancy then gathers up her courage and asks to explore Leo's physique, which he happily agrees to. Nancy reflects on her own body and points out that she has never been graced with an attractive body like some of her female friends. Leo begins to undress her, saying that she should be confident as she is a desirable woman. He tells her he wishes she could see what he sees. Nancy asks him if Leo Grande is his real name, and he tells her it's not, assuming that she also used a fake name as well. She confirms that is true, but would still like to be called Nancy for the time being. As the time begins to press on, Nancy senses that they should start to enjoy each other physically. However, she becomes emotional when she thinks about how her children would judge her actions. Leo consoles her and says that it's none of their business, but if Nancy just wants to talk, he is there for her, and they don't have to do anything physical today if she doesn't feel like it. Leo cheers her up by telling her about some of his regular clients who have particular requests. One lady asks for Leo to pretend to be a doctor, and another asks for him to act as an astronaut. He finishes by saying this is a judgment-free zone, and everyone is different and has different needs. This seems to embolden Nancy, and they end their second session much like the first, passionately making love. In the next scene, we see Nancy laying on a bed. It is a couple of weeks later, and she is in the middle of her third meeting with Leo. With each meeting, she is becoming more adventurous and confident with her body. While they have not completed all of the items on her list, she is content that they have accomplished much of what she set out to do. She is happy that even though she never got to experience these feelings when she was younger, she never gave up and closed them off entirely. Leo calls her brave and says more people in the world need to have the same openness and courage that she does. As the night wears on, Nancy accidentally lets it slip that she has been digging into Leo's background and that she knows who he really is. Leo is furious, as she has overstepped their agreed-upon boundaries, and he begins to leave, also expressly forbidding Nancy to try and book him again. She had become curious about Leo and his life outside of their meetings. It didn't take her long to find out his real name and some details about his past. He asks her how she would feel in the reverse situation, and if people found out what she was getting up to. She thought they had developed a genuine connection, and that maybe they could be friends outside of their meetings. Leo maintains that his entire persona is something he has carefully built in order to survive, and that she has no right to learn who he is outside of their experiences. Leo realizes he has lost his phone and searches for it so that he can leave. Nancy continues to press Leo, suggesting that she could help Leo come clean to his family about his job and his true identity. Nancy felt that it would be a huge relief for Leo to have his family's support. However, Leo emotionally reveals that his mother has actually disowned him and tells people that he is dead. She knows what he is doing and is ashamed of him. Leo kisses Nancy goodbye and says that she will never see him again. She stands there watching him leave, heartbroken. In the next scene, we have flashed forward a couple weeks into the future for the fourth meeting between the two. But this time, Nancy is not in a hotel room but sat in a bar. A staff member asks if she can get her anything, but she nervously declines, saying that she is waiting for someone. Leo finally arrives, drawing suspicious looks from the staff. As a cover story, he says that he is here to sell his car to Nancy, and then they order coffee. Nancy has booked for his time again. She says that she didn't think he would show up, and Leo admits that he almost didn't. Nancy thanks Leo for her newfound confidence and sexual awakening, and has discreetly recommended him to several friends. She admits her real name is Susan Robinson, and that Leo is the only true adventure she has ever had in her life. She apologizes for her past actions, and says she got caught up in the passion they shared. Leo forgives her, and reveals that he has reconnected with his brother after confiding in him what his real job is. Nancy and Leo enjoy a final session in their room, passionately engaging in all the remaining acts on Nancy's list. Nancy feels a sense of peace, knowing that she has found someone who truly understands her and who has helped her to embrace her sexuality in a way she never thought possible. Nancy finishes by saying that she no longer needs to book Leo's time anymore, and they say farewell. Leo smiles as he leaves, glad to have developed a genuine connection with someone and being able to help.